With the committee investigating the January 6th attack on Capitol Hill, on the Capitol, it's released more clips now from recorded interviews with aides and advisors to former President Donald Trump. Committee members say these clips further demonstrate how seemingly reluctant Trump was to rebuke his supporters, call them off. In recorded remarks the day after the insurrection, the footage includes people close to the former president discussing edits they say he wanted to a script that was prepared for him.
It looks like here that he crossed out that he was directing the Department of Justice to ensure all lawbreakers are prosecuted to the full extent of the law. We must send a clear message, not with mercy, but with justice. Legal consequences must be swift and firm. Do you know why he wanted that crossed out?
I don't know.
Let's go to ABC News political director Rick Klein on this. Rick, this has been a fascinating set of hearings, and partly because they did get people inside the Trump White House, the Trump inner circle, to provide testimony, and they got documents too, including these outtakes. What do you make of the significance of these crossouts that you say that we should not tell the Department of Justice to make sure that justice is done for any lawbreakers? What does that tell you? What's the committee trying to do with it, I should say?
Two major handwritten notes. One is that not committing the Department of Justice for this full investigation, even deleting a reference to potentially putting people that broke the law in jail, and also deleting a reference that would disavow the protesters entirely, saying that you don't represent you or me or the movement that I have led. He wanted both of those things out, and to me, it's another window into the former president's then thinking. This was just 24 hours after the riots at the Capitol, after the very delayed response. He falsely said that he immediately ordered in the National Guard, but beyond that, even a day later, he couldn't bring himself to condemn people that, at some level, he thinks were doing the right thing for him, the fight for him, and what he apparently told Kevin McCarthy, other people who were more upset about the election than people like McCarthy were at the time. He did not want to distance himself from his people, even at that moment, which I think is just a fascinating insight, and I think it adds more fuel to the case that the January 6th committee has made about the president's, frankly, his dereliction of duty during that time, and the fact that he decided, even in that moment, to not distance himself from the awful atrocities.
The case they're making, and this helps their case, that he wanted it to happen,
right.
Perhaps planned it to happen, at the very least, didn't mind that it happened. And so I wonder about whether this kind of evidence that he did not want legal consequences for those who had clearly broken the law, attacking police officers, destroying, the parts of that building, the windows and such, and breaking in. He didn't want legal consequences for them. What does it do to the potential criminal investigation that's out there?
I think, Terry, it adds more pressure on the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, to pursue a legal case against the former president. That's obviously his decision. The Justice Department has a lot to consider there. I don't know how much this gets into directly any legality, what you can prove from a draft or discarded drafts of presidential speeches. Also, keep in mind, he has in recent months said that he would very strongly consider pardoning individuals involved in the riot to the Capitol if he were to be elected again. So the political case, to me, collides with the legal one, because so much of this has been about both of those things, about, as Liz Cheney said, trying to make the case that Donald Trump can never have a position of power again, and to also make the case, as other members of the committee have consistently in recent days, that the actions engaged in by the former president have to be prosecuted. Now, that's up to the Department of Justice, but the public pressure campaign continues with this new release today.
And Rick, I wonder how much what has been laid out now is factoring into your beat, right? American politics coming up, not just looking backwards, but this is midterm year. The fact that Trump stands by his people even when they've broken the law, it could suggest that Trumpism is alive and well, and he wants to lead it back into power.
That's right, but he is no longer the only person who's talking about Trumpism. You're seeing a different version of it emerge from other people. Ron DeSantis has gotten the most headlines, but also former Vice President Mike Pence. He's going to be giving a speech this afternoon, Terry. According to the excerpts that we reviewed, he is going to say that the path for the Republican Party is not to look backward, that it has to be one that looks forward. And I think that's a pointed, kind of veiled reference at the former president who continues to look backward. Coincidentally, at a different conference tomorrow, we're going to see Donald Trump himself speak in Washington for the first time time since he left the presidency a year and a half ago. I have a feeling he's going to talk a little bit about the past, because that's what he is prone to do. That, to me, is the critical question right now in the Republican Party. It's not, are you Trump or are you never Trump or anti-Trump? It's are you loyal to the former president even through his election lies, or do you come down more on the side of he did a lot of great policy things, but ultimately he was wrong about the election and he lost fair and square?
Because elections generally are about tomorrow, not yesterday, and he wants to fight yesterday. That could actually hurt him politically, even though his people love him. So let's go back to that witness, Cassidy Hutchinson, who was the advisor to Mark Meadows, and she explained that to Trump that his response would be crucial during his final 15 days in office because there was so much talk about the 25th Amendment being invoked. It didn't seem like Trump really cared about that or thought it was even a reality for him. He was just determined to press forward, and even to the point of wanting to go to the Capitol and lead that mob up there.
Yeah, we heard it from the committee just a couple of days ago, last Thursday, where the only person that it appears that Trump ever expressed any kind of remorse or regret to was the House Republican leader, Kevin McCarthy. And, of course, a few weeks later, Kevin McCarthy was making the pilgrimage down to Mar-a-Lago. So that dissipated extremely quickly. But you're right, Terry. Everything we've learned about that period in and around January 6th did not have an apologetic tone, did not have a remorseful tone. He was just as determined as ever. And fast forward a year and a half, he's still talking about this. He is still making false claims about the last election.
All right, and he remains the dominant figure on the political landscape. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. Rick Klein, thanks very much.
Thanks, Terry.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.